My sister-in-law, Clara, was an older woman pregnant with triplets, but she refused to consider fetal reduction. She claimed she carried 3 dragon sons in her womb, even though the fetal anomaly screening results were inconclusive. I advised her to get further tests, but Clara thought the hospital was trying to swindle money from her. She insisted her body was healthy and carrying triplets was no problem. To our shock, after giving birth, all 3 babies were girls and suffered from neurological issues. Clara even tried to swap her 3 daughters for my newborn son, claiming my son had stolen her dragon destiny. My mother-in-law chimed in, saying, "Your family is rich, Mia. Feeding 1 or 3 is all the same." I looked at my husband, Daniel, helplessly, but he just said, "We're family. Clara's family is struggling. Don't be so petty." Clara screamed in anger, "No way, my children are sons, not daughters. These 3 disabled babies are not mine. I was carrying dragons, the hospital must have swapped my babies." Clara lay on the bed, tears streaming down her face, screaming in utter exhaustion. Clara and I gave birth on the same day. I delivered an hour before her. Immediately after, I saw doctors and nurses rushing around. Soon after, I heard the news. Clara's 3 babies all had neurological problems, cerebral palsy. During her pregnancy, Clara, being nearly 40, was diagnosed with triplets. The doctor advised fetal reduction, but she refused. She believed she had good fortune and that triplets were a great blessing. She even recounted a dream where 3 dragons flew into her womb. She was convinced she was carrying heavenly princes and couldn't abort them. Clara had previously given birth to 3 daughters, and this time, she was determined to have a son. Around 5 months, the anomaly screening results were inconclusive. The doctor recommended amniocentesis, but she cursed the doctor, calling him a black-mouthed jinx, accusing him of trying to scam her by predicting disabled children. From then on, she refused any further tests. Every time I went for my prenatal checkups, Clara would make sarcastic remarks, calling me stupid for wasting money at the hospital. Even Daniel told me it wasn't necessary, saying, "Clara is carrying triplets and she's fine. You're just overreacting." This caused a huge argument with Daniel, and we almost got a divorce. After giving birth, Clara frantically screamed, "You heartless hospital staff! You swapped my 3 sons and gave me these 3 disabled children. I'll sue you all, I'll take you to court." She even pointed at me, accusing me of colluding with the hospital to swap babies. She claimed I was originally pregnant with a daughter and had used the hospital to exchange my daughter for her son. Throughout her pregnancy, she had boasted everywhere that she was carrying a son and didn't even need prenatal checkups because she was so healthy. I knew Clara desperately wanted a son, but I never imagined she would lose her mind to this extent. When I tried to call the police to clarify the situation, my mother-in-law scolded me. "Clara is already like this. What more do you want to do?" She snatched my phone, preventing me from calling. Clara kept banging on the bed and screaming nonstop. I couldn't take it anymore and paid extra to move to a VIP room. To my surprise, Clara actually called the police, accusing the hospital of swapping babies. The police arrived at the hospital with video evidence proving that all 3 babies born were Clara's daughters. Clara's delusion was so severe because of her desire for a son. All the evidence was presented to her, but she still refused to believe it. My sister-in-law adamantly refused to accept the truth, but also realized that continuing to make a scene was pointless. She turned around and accused the doctors of being irresponsible. Even if I gave birth to daughters, it wouldn't be these *3. These damned cerebral palsy babies are not my daughters. I'm so healthy. How could I give birth to children with cerebral palsy? The doctor, both angry and helpless, took a deep breath and said, "Ms. Clara, when your screening results were inconclusive, we advised you to undergo further tests. Your sister-in-law also came to reiterate this, but you refused. This has nothing to do with the hospital or us doctors. Furthermore, this screening is typically for single pregnancies. We offered other methods, but you stubbornly insisted that the screening was inconclusive and dismissed it. We reminded you many times." But Clara wouldn't listen to the doctor's words. Enraged, she grabbed objects from the table and hurled them at him, yelling, "I didn't want to do other tests, but you didn't force me. What are your mouths for? Now my children have problems, and you must take responsibility. Otherwise, I'll abandon them here and go to the media to expose your hospital." Seeing Clara's unreasonable behavior, I felt truly sorry for the doctor. The police, seeing Clara's escalating disturbance and unable to reason with her, finally warned her, "You cannot abandon the children. If you do, we will pursue legal action." After the police left, the crowd gradually dispersed. Just as I was about to leave, Clara suddenly looked up and stared at me, her eyes filled with such hatred that a chill ran down my spine. I swallowed hard and quickly returned to my room. After a few days at the hospital, I packed my belongings to go home. I told Daniel, "Daniel, pack up. What are you standing there for?" He was standing by the door, lost in thought. Hearing my call, he said, "Clara is also being discharged today. You can pack your own things. I'm going to help her." Hearing this, I threw a pile of clothes onto the bed and demanded, "What do you mean? Are you my husband or hers? Mother-in-law helping her is one thing, but now you have to go too, so I'm just supposed to handle everything here by myself." Daniel frowned. "Don't be so unreasonable, Mia. Clara just gave birth to triplets. She needs more help. You can pack your own things and take a taxi home. What's so difficult about that?" With that, he walked straight to Clara's room, completely disregarding my child and me. I knew he had always listened to his elder brother since childhood, but I never expected that even as an adult, he would follow Clara's every command. Outsiders would surely think Clara had saved his life. I asked a nurse to carry my baby downstairs, then took a taxi home by myself. After settling in, I was about to rest when I heard a loud argument from the living room. Throughout my postpartum confinement, neither my mother-in-law nor Daniel took care of me. I had to manage all my food and drinks myself. The moment I asked Daniel to pour me a glass of water, Clara called him over to change her baby's diaper. He immediately rushed over, completely ignoring my baby and me. When I got angry, he even got upset with me. That night, unable to bear it any longer, I asked him, "Who exactly is your wife, me or her?" He frowned. "What do you mean by that? Can't family members help each other?" "Help each other? I'm in confinement and you haven't even changed our child's diaper once. He's your son." I gritted my teeth, my eyes red, looking at him. "You don't know how to do it. Clara has 3 babies to take care of. She's too busy to breathe. If you can't help, then fine, but don't say such things." His words choked me. He even added, "If you want me to take care of you, then go find a helper for Clara. Your family has so much money, hiring more people won't hurt, right?" I glared at him, my chest heaving with anger. I had previously hired a helper for my confinement period, but when my mother-in-law and Clara found out, they constantly bossed her around until she quit. I didn't dare hire anyone else. "Fine, Daniel, I see you for who you truly are." He was about to speak when Clara called him again. He immediately got up and ran out. Throughout my confinement, he didn't change a single diaper or hold our baby even once. I had to do everything myself. My disappointment in him grew, and I even started contemplating divorce. After my confinement ended, I planned to have a serious talk with him about divorce. But to my surprise, he and my mother-in-law came to my room together. It was the first time they had both come, so something was definitely up. In the living room, my eldest child was sleeping soundly. My mother-in-law smiled dotingly as she approached, looking at her grandchild. "Oh my, look at this little face, so fair and chubby, absolutely adorable." Daniel, standing next to his mother, immediately agreed, "Yes, truly beautiful." I maintained a cold demeanor. "If there's something to say, just say it. Our child is sleeping. Let's go outside to talk." My mother-in-law pointed to the door with her chin. I remained unmoving, my eyes calmly fixed on them. Daniel approached and hugged me. "Wife, let's go out and talk. Don't wake the baby." I replied coldly, "If you're here to borrow money, it's out of the question. I don't have a single cent." My mother-in-law immediately frowned, her eyes filled with annoyance. "What's wrong with you? Let's go out and talk. Don't keep bringing up money, it sounds so distant." We went to the living room. I saw Clara there, looking haggard, her hair messy, having aged decades. She held a baby in her arms. Seeing me walk in, she lazily glanced up, her murky eyes filled with resentment. "What is it?" I asked, sitting on the sofa. My mother-in-law looked at Clara, then at me, finally settling her gaze on Daniel. He just shook his head and pressed his lips together, saying nothing. The atmosphere in the living room became awkward. After a long silence, my mother-in-law forced a smile. "Ah, actually, it's nothing much. Just some good news I wanted to share with you." At the mention of good news, I immediately grew cautious. In this house, nothing good ever fell into my lap. My mother-in-law continued, "Your sister-in-law had 3 children before, and now she's had 3 more. That's a total of 6 children, but you only have one. I'm worried your family is too small, just 3 of you living alone would be lonely. So your father-in-law, Liam, Clara, and I discussed it. Everyone agreed, even Daniel nodded his head. So we're just telling you today. I kept my face impassive. Agreed to what? To swap Clara's 3 children for one of yours. That way, you'll have 3 children, and your brother-in-law and Clara will have 4. Both families will be large, and no one will be lonely. I was stunned, then burst into a contemptuous laugh, looking at Daniel. You agreed? Daniel nodded, about to speak when my mother-in-law interrupted. You have money, Mia. Raising 1 child is raising a child. Raising 3 is also raising a child. We're all one family. Clara's also suffering a lot. Don't be so petty. I scoffed. Sounds like I'm getting a good deal, doesn't it? Seeing that I wasn't getting angry, my mother-in-law breathed a sigh of relief. 3 for 1, isn't that a huge profit for you? So, you agree then? I looked at them, a slight smirk on my lips. Why should I agree? Mia, I know you're a good person. You're surely wait. What did you just say? You don't agree? Perhaps my gentle smile made my mother-in-law think I would nod in agreement, so when she realized I hadn't, she was taken aback. I'm not stupid. 3 children with cerebral palsy for 1 healthy child? Who would agree to that? My mother-in-law's face immediately darkened. She pointed at me and turned to Daniel. I don't care about this. Daniel, you already agreed, didn't you? I'll bring the babies over in a bit. My mother-in-law finished speaking and left, leaving Daniel and me. I quietly looked at him, not saying a word. Daniel swallowed hard before finally speaking. Wife, actually, mother-in-law didn't explain it clearly. I didn't agree to swap children, I only agreed to help raise them. Liam works on a construction site, earning only 7 or 8 million a month. Clara stays home with the children and has no income. Raising 2 adults and 3 children is difficult. I replied coldly. Did they only realize it was difficult after giving birth? When the doctors advised fetal reduction, they didn't listen, fearing they'd lose their dragons, right? You can't say that. We're family, after all. We can't just watch them suffer and do nothing, can we? You earn 20 or 30 million a month, and you have a factory to help out. What's so difficult about it? Daniel spoke as if he were the one suffering a great injustice. Family, so what? You can't just stand by and watch people die, right? Raising 3 children with cerebral palsy is hard, I said with a sarcastic, mournful laugh. Did I force her to give birth? When her screening results were inconclusive, the doctor and I advised thorough testing. If problems were found and she had chosen to terminate, we wouldn't be in this situation now. I stared at Daniel, my voice firm. No matter what, I will not help raise Clara's children. My money and my family's money don't just fall from the sky. Unable to persuade me, Daniel gritted his teeth in anger. Mia, how can you be so cold and heartless? That's our sister-in-law. If you're so compassionate, you raise them yourself. Give all your 7 million salary to Clara to raise the children. I shouted, telling him to leave, then continued to soothe my baby back to sleep. That evening, Daniel stayed in Clara's room, taking care of the babies, not bothering to come back to sleep. In a hazy state around midnight, I heard the door open. I thought it was Daniel returning, so I didn't pay attention and continued to sleep. Not long after, I felt someone lie down beside me, but the weight wasn't like Daniel. It felt like a child. Then I felt the bed shake 2 or 3 times. I was about to open my eyes and ask Daniel what he was doing when I suddenly heard my mother-in-law and Daniel's voices. Son, is this really okay? Daniel whispered. What's not okay? My mother-in-law said confidently. Didn't you say that wretched woman can't sleep soundly? Put the 3 babies on her bed. In the middle of the night, she's bound to kick them off. Then she'll have to take responsibility. If she doesn't, we'll sue her for intentional harm to children. Hurry up and carry her son over here. I reached out and turned on the nightlight. I saw them stealthily standing by the bed. On my bed were Clara's 3 children with cerebral palsy. Your plan is truly brilliant? Daniel froze, sweat pouring down his forehead, quickly trying to explain. But my mother-in-law, unfazed, pulled his arm, signaling him not to worry. She turned to me, a look of arrogance on her face. Mia, this morning I spoke to you politely. If you don't agree, then don't blame me for doing this. You don't want to raise these 3 children. You have to. I picked up my son, my eyes cold. By what right do I have to raise these 3 children? Are they mine? Did I make Clara pregnant? You unreasonable people have to have some limits. Looking at the 3 children on the bed, I continued, there's a camera installed in my room. If you dare to bring these children here again or take my son away, I will call the police. Hearing me say there was a camera, my mother-in-law was stunned and immediately looked at Daniel. Daniel blinked, surprised, shaking his head to indicate he knew nothing about it. They carried the children out. I watched them leave with the 3 babies, then immediately locked the door before putting my son back down. The next day, my mother-in-law started her tricks again. Right after lunch, she announced a family meeting. From now on, every month, you children must pay me $5,000 for living expenses. She sat on the sofa, her eyes fixed on me. Why? I asked, knowing full well this was just an excuse for her to get money for Clara. Why else? Living expenses, don't you understand? She yelled. I'm old now. Are you children not going to pay for my living expenses? In the past, I paid your grandma living expenses every month. This is a good family tradition. I turned to Daniel. Really? Is this a tradition? Daniel nodded. Yes, when I was little, I saw mother-in-law paying living expenses. All right then, we'll pay. I nudged Daniel with my chin, telling him to get his phone out. Daniel, transfer the money to mother-in-law. Daniel was surprised that I told him to transfer the money. My mother-in-law immediately interjected. I said you should transfer it, not Daniel. We're husband and wife, so if he transfers it, it's representing our small family. Daniel, hurry up. Every month on the 15th, when you get your salary, transfer it immediately. Don't be late, understood. Finished speaking, I snorted coldly and turned to go back to my room to rest. A few days later, Daniel constantly complained to me. After paying the living expenses, I have no money left. Transfer some more money to me or get me a supplementary card. I flatly refused all his requests. Mia, you said we're husband and wife. I'm the one paying the living expenses, and I'm not blaming you for anything. Now I'm just asking for a little money, and you're acting like I'm asking for your life. Daniel sat by the bed, pounding his fist. From today on, the living expenses will be split in half. You transfer $2,500 to me every month. Okay, I replied without hesitation. Daniel stood up abruptly. You agree? I nodded. Yes, but the cost of raising our child will also be split in half. That's easy, right? I smiled faintly. Formula milk is $500 a box. 4 boxes a month is $2,000. Diapers are $1,000 a month. This month there are vaccinations and insurance, $8,000. Total, that's $5,500 per person. You only need to transfer $5,000 to me, and I have to transfer $2,500 for living expenses to you, right? So you just transfer $2,500, that's it. I said, smiling brightly at Daniel. His face grew darker and darker, trying to suppress his anger. Mia, you're being too much. We're a family. Do you really need to be so calculative? Calculative? When have I been calculative? Don't think I don't know what you and your mother are up to. Calling it living expenses, I think it's for Clara. You won't get any money from me. From then on, Daniel and his mother never mentioned living expenses again. Just when I thought everything was over, I gradually realized something was wrong. Normally, a box of formula milk would last a week, but now, for some reason, it was gone in just 3 days. Diapers were the same. They ran out quickly after I bought them. Even wet wipes and soft cotton pads for the baby disappeared unusually fast. Clothes, baby bottles, and other items my parents and I bought for our child would go missing every few days. I was about to ask Daniel what was happening when my child suddenly developed a high fever in the middle of the night. I packed everything and called Daniel to drive us to the hospital, but he paid no attention. With no other choice, I called a taxi to the hospital myself. After an examination, the doctor said that baby items needed to be thoroughly cleaned and sterilized, avoiding sharing or mixing them with adult items. I was startled because all my child's things were washed separately and stored in a sterilizer cabinet. As I listened to the doctor, a thought suddenly flashed in my mind. The doctor asked for hospital admission procedures and took my child to a ward. Seeing my child's tiny arm with an IV needle, I couldn't help but feel heartbroken. The image of my child screaming and struggling as the doctor inserted the needle kept replaying in my mind, bringing tears to my eyes. I picked up my phone to ask Daniel, but then remembered there was a camera in the room. I opened the camera to review the footage, and the scene that unfolded left me numb. In the video, Daniel, Clara, and my mother-in-law were holding a large black bag, rummaging through my room. "Mother-in-law, don't take too much from one package. Take a little from each so it's harder to notice," Clara said. "Did you bring over the formula milk, Clara? Just scoop a few spoonfuls from each box. She won't remember which box she opened anyway. Take plenty of wipes and tissues," Daniel said, expertly putting my child's items into the bag. "She locks up all the valuable items. Otherwise, we could just buy fakes to replace them." Hearing those words, I was utterly despairing of him. The next morning, I invited a lawyer to draft divorce papers. When Daniel came to the hospital to visit our child, I handed him the divorce papers directly. "Divorce? Are you crazy, Mia? We're perfectly fine. Why do you want a divorce?" I didn't say anything, just played the camera video for him. Seeing the images in the video, Daniel stammered, speechless. "Sign it," I said, placing a pen on the table. "You took my child's formula and clothes to give to Clara's children, causing my child to have a persistent high fever. Daniel, my child and I are not in your heart, so let's get a divorce. There's no need to torture each other anymore. You can wholeheartedly take care of them." "What are you saying, that my child and I aren't in your heart? You can take care of yourself. Clara is alone with 3 children. She can't manage. Liam only earns a little money. If you don't help, what other choice do I have? It's just a few boxes of formula and some diapers. Do you really need to be so calculative as to demand a divorce?" With that, he snatched the divorce papers, tore them into pieces, and threw them into the trash. "I'm not divorcing you." I smirked. "You say I'm calculative. Every time I bought diapers and formula, I bought some for Clara too, but you all treat it like it's my obligation. If you're willing to sign now, I'll gladly give all the baby supplies at home to Clara. Otherwise, we'll see each other in court. You won't get anything then." Daniel thought I was joking, didn't take my words seriously, and left. After my child was discharged, I asked my parents to pick him up and care for him while I went to find a lawyer to prepare the divorce papers. I took the court summons to the Wang family home. "Next month, we'll go to court. Joint assets will be divided equally. The car, either give it to me or pay me for it. I contributed half to this house. You either move out or pay me back. Think carefully." My mother-in-law angrily screamed, "Mia, are you crazy? Do you really have to mess up this house until chickens fly and dogs jump? I'm telling you, don't even dream of getting a divorce. My son spent $88,000 to marry you, plus $5,000 and 3 caddies of wedding gifts. You pay all of that back." Hearing that, I burst out laughing. "I almost forgot, your elder son once borrowed $100,000 from me to start a business, a long, long time ago. Pay it back now." Before I could finish, my mother-in-law lunged at me, grabbing my hair. I wasn't going to back down. I pulled her hair hard and twisted it, making her scream in pain. I swung my leg and kicked her hard in the stomach. She finally let go, but she didn't give up and lunged at me again. I raised my hand and slapped her a few times, then grabbed the ashtray on the table and held it high. She was so scared she didn't dare move. During the fight, Clara had disappeared, and Daniel stood frozen, not daring to intervene. Crash, I slammed the ashtray onto the floor. "Come on, do you think I'm scared of you? I've put up with enough. No fetal reduction, no prenatal checkups, and now that things have gone wrong, you want me to take responsibility? Am I the mother or the father of these children? If you don't show up in court next month, just try me." With that, I left. While waiting for the court hearing, the Wang family continued their antics. Daniel and my mother-in-law called reporters. The 3 of them sat on the sofa, holding the 3 children with cerebral palsy, crying in front of the cameras. "We hope philanthropists can help us. My elder daughter-in-law was pregnant and gave birth to triplets, but unfortunately, the hospital's careless checks led to the babies having cerebral palsy. Currently, our family is under immense pressure. Our total monthly income is only about 15,000 yuan, not enough to bear this heavy burden. Yet, our younger daughter-in-law, knowing our family's circumstances, still demands a divorce. We tried to persuade her, but it was no use. She even physically assaulted me, insisting on a divorce and wanting to take both the house and the car. Our family truly has no other way, so we had to turn to reporters, hoping philanthropists can help." This news immediately trended. Daniel's family eagerly awaited help from philanthropists, but what they received was not sympathy, but outrage from netizens. No money and still having so many children, didn't they consider their family circumstances before giving birth? If I were the younger daughter-in-law, I'd also run away. Am I supposed to support them for life? 40 years old and pregnant with triplets, refused fetal reduction, probably thought she'd found a son, but ended up with 3 cerebral palsy babies. Now the family has 6 daughters. They brought this upon themselves. It's truly ridiculous that they're begging for money from others while still having the audacity to scold the younger daughter-in-law. However, some people still defended them. What mother would have the heart to abort her child? After all, they're her own children. Don't say such cold words. This family is also pitiful. I heard the younger daughter-in-law is very rich. She could easily help a little but refuses. How cold-hearted. Things became increasingly heated, and some even started digging into my personal information. That day, Daniel called me. "Mia, now netizens are all scolding you. It must be very uncomfortable, right? If you agree not to divorce and give a little money to help my family, I can stand up for you." Hearing these words, I was so angry I almost smashed my phone. After all these years of marriage, I never realized he was this kind of person. I suppressed my anger and replied, "It is very uncomfortable. Didn't your mother say she wanted to exchange 3 cerebral palsy babies for my son? Fine, I agree. Today, transfer the 3 children to your household registration. Once that's done, I'll bring my son back to Clara." "Are you serious, Mia?" Daniel was overjoyed. "Good, I'll go take care of the paperwork with Clara right now. Mia, you're not trying to trick me, are you?" I didn't answer, just hung up. How ridiculous. Would I be so insane as to trade my whole life for a few words online? The procedures were completed. Daniel transferred the 3 children to his household registration. He took pictures of the documents and sent them to me, asking when I would bring my son to Clara. He even set up a meeting, but I went with my lawyer and waited for a long time. Daniel never showed up. When I got home that evening, I saw the news. It turned out Clara had gotten into trouble. That day, after completing the paperwork, Clara went to her parents' house to get her belongings and never returned. My mother-in-law and Daniel called her repeatedly but couldn't reach her. They called her parents' house and learned Clara wasn't there either. Daniel quickly told Liam to go look for her. They searched for 2 days and one night, finally finding Clara at a guest house near the train station. My mother-in-law and Liam rushed in, pushed Clara to the ground, and beat her mercilessly. "You wretched woman, how dare you run away? I gave you 6 daughters, 3 with cerebral palsy, and you still want to run?" Liam sat on top of Clara, repeatedly punching her in the face. "I'll kill you, you dare to run away." My mother-in-law raised her foot and stomped hard on Clara's head. "So you said you wanted to swap children before, but it turns out you didn't want to raise these. Now you've abandoned your sons with me and plan to leave alone. Dream on." Daniel stood there, dumbfounded, watching Clara being beaten until she coughed up blood, but he didn't dare to intervene. Clara screamed, "How dare you blame me? When I didn't pass the fetal screening, I asked for money to do further tests. You all said it wasn't necessary. If you had given me the money for tests then, and we found a problem, I would have aborted them. It's all your fault. Let me go." She struggled free and ran out of the room, but was immediately grabbed by Liam. "Useless woman, can't even give birth to a son. You ate my food, drank my drinks, and now you dare to blame me? You trashy woman, I'll kill you." Liam punched Clara hard in the face, breaking her front teeth. Clara looked at Daniel, her mouth twisted into a crooked smile, speaking with a lisp. "Didn't you enjoy helping me take care of the 3 children, Daniel? Ha ha, they're all yours now. They're your children, nothing to do with me anymore. I don't want them." These words were like a knife stabbing directly into Daniel's heart. Perhaps he couldn't accept the truth that he had given his all for Clara and the 3 children, only to be met with her cold abandonment. Clara continued speaking, but Daniel gradually stopped hearing her words clearly. He just watched, transfixed, as Clara was beaten to death right before his eyes. The noise from the neighboring room was so loud that the neighbors, terrified, called the police. When the police arrived, they arrested all 3, my mother-in-law, Liam, and Daniel. This incident was immediately reported in the media. People who had witnessed Clara making a scene at the hospital recounted how she had failed the fetal screening, but then refused any further tests, knowing her children had problems yet still hoping to give birth. Now, no one pitied her. They all said she brought it upon herself. Initially, I had planned to expose how they stole my child's belongings and placed the 3 babies on my bed, but now it seemed unnecessary. Liam and my mother-in-law were convicted of intentional homicide. Both went to prison. Liam and Clara's 3 older daughters were sent out to work when they turned 18 and never returned home. With a family like that, This was probably the best release. I never expected Daniel to bring the 3 children to my house, kneeling at my doorstep, causing the neighbors to gather and watch. Mia, Mia, I beg you, don't abandon me and the children, Daniel cried and wailed. I stepped out. He looked up, tears and snot streaming down his face, and continued to plead. Didn't you like helping Clara take care of the 3 children? Now these 3 are mine, I'll take good care of them. I laughed coldly, but Daniel kept crying, his eyes red. I know I was wrong. From now on, I'll listen to you. But now mother-in-law and Liam are in prison and Clara is dead. I really don't know how to raise these 3 children, Mia, I beg you. He turned to look at the neighbors. Clara gave birth to triplets. Liam works far away. I had no other choice, so mother-in-law dragged me over to help care for them. We're family. I couldn't just watch mother-in-law and Clara work day and night without helping. The neighbors knew the whole story. No one felt sympathy for Daniel, only thinking that this was the consequence of his own actions. I calmly looked at him. Daniel, if, during my confinement, you had come to take care of me and our child, if you hadn't stolen my child's belongings to supply Clara, if you hadn't colluded with your mother to trick me out of money, would I have demanded a divorce? If Clara had agreed to fetal reduction and further tests from the beginning, how would 3 children with cerebral palsy have been born? I advised it, but you believed Clara was right and blamed me for wasting money on prenatal checkups. Daniel, I ask you, do you consider me your wife? Do you think about our family? In your mind, there's only Liam and Clara. Have you ever thought about me? Looking at him, I didn't see a shred of regret in his eyes. He came to me today simply because he had no other option. He was scared, panicked, now that the 3 children had truly become his responsibility. I sighed, looking at the 3 children. They were truly pitiful, born to such parents. But no matter how pitiful they were, there was nothing I could do. I had my own child to care for. Daniel, take the 3 children and leave. If you bother me again, I'll call the police for disturbing the peace. With that, I turned and went back inside, signaling my parents not to pay him any mind. Mia, do you really have to be so heartless? He cried out, but I didn't answer. In the following days, we finalized the divorce. He didn't bother me again. Occasionally, when I scrolled online, I would see him appearing in live streams, holding the 3 children, crying and telling his sad story, selling things, hoping for help from philanthropists or someone to adopt the 3 children. I scrolled past without clicking, only selecting reduce suggestions. His story no longer had anything to do with me.